Give me the hot sauce, Bill Buck. Give me the hot sauce. What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs.
Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Stacey King, Mark Shanowski with you from our beautiful Sriracha studios here in Palatine. And look who's back. The world traveler, Timmy Whispers. How many shows did you miss?
3.
Oh, man. People have been dying for you to return.
Oh, yeah.
The chat line has been going crazy.
Well, I had to come back just to defend my honor after listening to you guys.
What honor are we talking about?
I'm not going to move near this guy. He's creepy, and he's 0-6 in MMA, and he's like a redheaded stepchild.
Wow.
He doesn't wear
It's
deodorant.
nice to know you're listening to the show, even though you haven't.
Yeah, well, I have to, just to figure out what
Wow.
what
Tim,
comments are
Tim,
coming
it wasn't
my
me.
way.
It wasn't me.
Oh, yeah, that was mostly you.
No, it wasn't me, Tim. It was not me. It was not me at all. I kept quiet on a lot of things. Mark was the culprit.
Yeah. It was all our guests.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Steph Noah, a lot of things.
Steph
to say
Noah,
about
yeah.
you last
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe what he said about me. That was terrible.
Yeah. He said you're not going to clown him about all the clothes in the background of him.
Right. You
Yeah.
got to go hide that
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I'm
gotta
glad to
prep
have you
for
back,
every
buddy.
show.
Yeah, we're glad.
Glad to have you
Where
back.
you been? Tell the folks what you've been up to.
Oh, just been all over the place, Florida, but I went to Epic last week, so the world's largest EMR up in Verona, Wisconsin, over in your area there, Mark. And
Yeah.
it's kind of bizarre because it's in the middle of nowhere, but they built this like a Disney World compound, heated sidewalks, horse and carriages, golf carts everywhere. There's 20,000 people running around, and you're not sure if you're in Disney World, Vegas, or where you're at because the interior of this place and the stuff they've done and the buildings and the themes, it's hard to believe this woman started this 40 years ago, and she owns this compound and the world's largest EMR, but it's remarkable.
What's the attraction, though? I mean, is this just business related or what?
Just business related. So it was their user group meeting. So all the people who use Epic in hospitals, major hospitals around the world, they show up for this event where basically the entire Madison airport is people coming in for Epic. It's really quite a spectacle.
Yeah.
So you said they had heated sidewalks.
Yeah, so in the winter, because they have miles of sidewalks there, they don't have to ever shovel.
Oh, man, that's
Well,
awesome.
if you get a
Oh,
couple
you
feet
get the
of
right.
snow,
Yeah,
it ain't melting.
Yeah, but no one's coming then. They can't get through the airport, so it works out. But yeah, it's remarkable. Yeah,
And you
quite a
said
place.
they had horse buggies?
Yeah, to move people around from building to building, and all the buildings have different themes. You know, from castles to barns, all these different looks. It's wild. I mean, it really
Wow.
is. And
How
she
many
owns it
people-
by herself. It's not a publicly traded company.
Well, how many people do you think were there when you were there? Like, if you had a number?
20-some thousand.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you stay?
At a beautiful Wyndham in Verona.
Wow.
Okay.
20,000 people attended. That's impressive.
And how's the house doing down in Fort Myers?
It's hanging in there. As you know, I thought Stacey might want to look at a place next door to me, but apparently not because I'm a little creepy.
Hey, America. So Tim lives in a villa, and then right next door to him, they're separated by a wall, okay? So he calls me up. He says, hey, the guy's moving out next door to me.
Yeah.
So I thought he meant next door, like, right next door to him, like you cross over the grass and go next door. No, he said, no, like right next door to me. So he sent me a picture of it. And I'm like, what is this, a duplex? So he said, no, it's a villa. So he goes, you can move in right next to me. And I just like, I was like,
It's not the way. It's not the way it looks.
The sounds
hey,
of silence.
the silence. It was real silent on that phone call.
I'll show you a picture,
Hey,
Mark. It's
Mark,
not as bad as he's making it out to be.
Mark, I was just like, well, Tim, let me call you back.
Maybe not, yeah.
Let me call you back. Give me 10 minutes. Let me think about
We
this.
might be good friends, but not like that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a little too
but the
creepy.
word creepy came in.
Creepy, yeah. He's coming over the fence, Mark. You remember the guy, is it Tool Time? Where the guy was
Yeah,
like,
right,
he always
right.
had the
Just
hat.
the eyes.
That's,
Never
you just
saw
saw
his
his eyes.
Yeah.
It's Tim.
Yeah.
Tim's going to be like that.
Mr.
He's
Wilson.
doing it. Yeah, Mr. Wilson. He's Mr. Wilson.
I'll just be looking through the windows.
Oh, no, that's creepy. That's
Oh, see,
creepy.
there we go.
That's creepy.
That is creepy.
That's creepy. But you know what? He's a good friend. I can see myself living down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself living somewhere in Fort Myers, but to be right next door, like we can actually saw a hole in the wall.
You don't have to
and
worry about
hand-
Stacey because Mark called me afterwards. It's a really good deal, and he bought it.
Ah! Oh, well, good luck to you too.
Yeah, Mark
Hey,
and I will be
y'all
having a
gonna
good
be the
time.
greatest neighbors ever.
That's right.
That's right. We're gonna actually cut a hole through the wall and have a shared door.
See,
That's where we went.
That's what I'm saying. That's creepy. Okay, you're gonna cut a hole in the wall and have a shared door. That's creepy. Okay, that's why I'm talking about America. That's creepy. I'm not
Get
getting
a cup of sugar, borrow something. You know.
Exactly.
toilet
You never
paper.
know.
Yeah, hey, excuse me, I ran out of toilet paper.
Exactly. You just pass it right through the wall.
Well, folks, you've heard more from Whispers today than you have in probably the last 2 years, and probably more than you wanted to. But we got
Oh wow!
we got a special guest coming up. Stacey's partner, Adam Amin, is going to join us, the man for all seasons. He, of course, did the preseason games for the Bears with Jim Miller, so we'll get a scouting report from Adam on the Bears and also look ahead to the Bulls season, which is right around the corner. They'll be reporting to training camp in about a month or so that we're counting that down as well. Let's talk a little bit of NBA before we bring in Adam. A couple of stories I wanted to get run by Stacey. First one was Anthony Edwards, the latest young guy to crap all over guys in the past who didn't study any history. He goes, well, you know, the NBA of years ago, I never watched it, but nobody had any skill. Well, just maybe Michael Jordan. He was the only one. I mean, you know, why did he – because he started out saying, I didn't watch it, so I'm not really qualified to comment. You should have just stopped right there. Then he had just to insult everybody in the 78-year history of the NBA.
Listen, a lot of these kids don't know the history of the game.
Right.
They only, it's like, what have you done lately? ESPN generation, everything's been on highlights. You know, to say guys like Magic Johnson weren't skilled, you know, guys like, you know, Isaiah Thomas wasn't skilled. Come on now. I mean, Will Chamberlain, you know, Oscar Robinson. I mean, these guys were skilled in their era. And for these young kids, it's better not to say it. You give him a break because he's young, but also he's one of the kids that I feel when you listen to him talk, he's very mature when he comes across and he talks in press conferences. But then you start to realize his age when he says stuff like this. You know, you say, okay, 1 minute he looks like he's crossing over that maturity. He's going to be the face of the NBA. And then you have a comment like that. Some things are better left unsaid. You know, if you have a filter. Have a filter because you know that's going to be viral when you say that. And so, again, you know, to say a guy that era is not skilled or guys were not skilled, Larry Bird is one of the most skilled players ever. And you're saying he's not skilled? These dudes would drop 40 on this kid.
That's right.
Okay, so, I mean, Anthony Edwards have a hard time scoring on a lot of guys in that era. You know, I mean, he scores now because the defense is not allowed to play defense. Okay, so you put a guy like Michael Jordan on Anthony Edwards. You're telling me Michael Jordan couldn't shut him down? You're telling me guys like Clyde Drexler couldn't shut Joe Dumars, guys who were on perennial all defensive teams couldn't shut him down? Kobe Bryant couldn't shut him down if he really wanted to shut him down? So I just think sometimes these guys just get so full of themselves and because of their success, and they want to, you know, instead of uplifting other people, and they rather push them down to make them look better. And I think that's a lot of these young kids are like that now.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett, who does a podcast with his old teammate Paul Pierce, they just reamed him a new one. You know, just talking about how foolish it is to say something like that because there are skills that were in the 80s and 90s and even before that don't exist today with the way the game is played in terms of low post play, you know, hand checking on defense, all these things that these guys today don't even know anything about.
No, full court pressure, you know, being able to bring the ball up under duress. You don't see that anymore. The guys are walking the ball up the floor. They're able to get rest. It's just, I mean, it's a different time. And I get it. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's young, like 21, 22 years old. He maybe didn't watch a lot of NBA games growing up because he was a football player. He loved football first. So he might have been watching a lot of NFL games. But again, if you don't know, maybe you need to do some research and keep that to yourself. And you don't have to, same thing with JJ Redick. You don't have to tear down one era to boost another era. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to tear down what Michael did and all these other guys did to elevate what LeBron is doing and some of these other guys are doing. That's a bunch of crap. You know, understand that, you know, basketball was played the way it was played for a reason. The game has evolved. The game changes. You know, the 60s were different than the 70s. 70s were different than the 80s. 80s were different than the 90s, and so on. So, but it's not anyone's fault that they had to play in those different eras. This is what they were playing. And Jerry West, you're telling me Jerry West couldn't score in this era? You're telling me Larry Bird couldn't score in this era? You're telling me that, you know, Oscar Robinson couldn't do some of the things he was doing? You know, Wilt Chamberlain in this era? Who in this era can guard Wilt Chamberlain right now in his prime?
Nobody.
Come on. So, I mean, be quiet. Like, know your history. You know, I get you want to be viral. I get you want to say things that's going to put you out there on the map, you know, and help your podcast or whatever. But let's be real. Like, don't downgrade one generation to boost another generation.
obviously we're in the slow period of the NBA, so
Real slow.
NBA TV has to run different classic games to fill their 24-hour programming. And I just happened to catch some of the 1972 All-Star game they were running. Jerry West had like 6 steals in the game. He was the MVP, and it was a close game late. And Walt Frazier's guarding Jerry West, and they're playing this like it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Well, it's the whole All-Star game format has changed. It's like we don't play any defense. We're not gonna go hard at each other. And which if I'm a fan, I don't like the way the All-Star game's played.
They're talking about killing it now because
they
it's gotten so bad.
It's so bad because it's like, okay, I'm just gonna let you just go straight down and get a dunk. Okay, they think that's what the fans want to see. Show dunks and all these spectacular plays. No, they want to see you compete. Who is the best of the best? If I'm going one-on-one and I got to guard LeBron James, if you're Kevin Durant or whoever, I want to show that I'm the best at my position. I want to show I'm the best in the NBA. And they've lost that competitive edge. The players don't want to be competitive. The players don't want to challenge each other. So it's become a spectacle. I'd rather see the WNBA All-Star game. They compete.
Yeah, they're playing hard. There's no question about it this year with the format that they had with the Olympic team going against the WNBA All-Stars. The other thing I was going to ask you about, this came out today. Brian Windhorst from ESPN does a podcast called The Hoop Collective, and one of his regular contributors is a guy named Tim Bontemps, who's a national reporter for ESPN. Bontemps went out and surveyed executives around the league about who had the best offseason, who had the worst offseason. They voted the Denver Nuggets as having the worst offseason, and the Bulls were next. They had 6 votes for Denver, 5 for the Bulls as having the worst offseason. We know with Denver, they lost KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and the only player they brought in was an aging Russell Westbrook. The Bulls, of course, lose DeRozan and Caruso, and they're going young. I think it's kind of apples and oranges, but that's what the vote turned out.
Well, I mean, to say the Bulls had one of the worst summers is you're not understanding what they're trying to do.
Right.
At some point, what was here was not working, and so now they've gone a different direction. They've been able to maneuver, be able to get some pieces, some young pieces. I know it's not the ideal way to build a team. No team's ever done like what AK is doing. This is something I've said I'd done a long time ago. If I was a general manager, I would be scouting teams, benches, younger players. I'd be watching their numbers when they get good minutes, what they do when they produce in those minutes. And if I can swing, trade a guy and and not have to give up a lot for him, I'm doing it. And I think he's doing it the right way. I think this team is going to be better than what it is. I honestly do think that. That pick is jeopardy. I do. I do, because if you got Zach here, you got Vooch. Those are 2 former All-Stars, okay? You got Kobe White, who's ascended. You got Patrick Williams is going to have a bigger role. Giddey's a good player. I mean, that's the only thing I'm really nervous about is like, them losing that pick and then going to San Antonio. So, but I understand where they're going from. But to say the Bulls had a bad offseason, is it because they lost DeMar DeRozan because they traded him? Is it because they lost Caruso? Yeah. Okay, you lose those kind of players, but what were we doing with those players? Were we winning? Did we get past the first round with those players? No. So at some point, you have to say, hey, scrap it. Let's redo it. Let's change course, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, traditionally, August and September are incredibly slow months for the NBA. Nothing's going on. Guys are getting their last vacations in. As Stacey mentioned when he was playing, the guys would start showing up at the gym in September and start getting some runs in. Then the guys are starting to get their minds right about the new season coming up.
Yeah, that's only because, Mark, your team is going all the way into the middle of June. You don't have a lot of rest. Why most teams are done in April. The teams that don't make the playoffs are done in April. The teams that lose in the first round are done like the first week of May. And so they got all summer to go on vacation, hang out, and ride the banana boats and do whatever they want to do. When you're winning and your team is constantly playing past the second and third round, your season is extended to possibly June, the middle of June, second week of June. So when that season's over, you might only get a few weeks of rest, and then you're right back in the gym. And that's one thing that I liked about Phil Jackson was he had a pulse of his team. He understood that, we had a grueling season. We had the target on our back. Everybody was gunning for the Bulls. We're everybody's playoff game every single night. And it's like, hey, look, you know what? I don't want you touching the ball. I don't want you to be in the gym. Call in, check in. We'll call in, check in on you, see how you're doing. But come September, we're going to come in about 75% in shape, and we'll work our way up through training camp and through the preseason. And that's what we always did. And and we were able to win. We were able to continue to win.
We're going to talk more Bulls with Adam Amin in just a couple of minutes. Before we take a break, though, I did want to get Stacey's thoughts on something. You mentioned the WNBA, and it was fascinating. Steph Noe was our guest last week. Check out that show if you haven't. Go back into the archives. All our shows are available on YouTube. He was talking about the fact that Angel Reese is shooting 43% within 5 feet of the basket. She's had 3 straight 20-rebound games, but she's got the old Moses Malone trick down pat, getting her own missed shot and putting it back up. And I'm not saying she's doing it to pad her stats, but that's where a lot of her rebounds are coming from.
Well, and she's starting to get a little hot about what everybody's talking about. You know, she's telling herself, you know, saying that she's a entrepreneur. She's a social media figure.
And she's got her own podcast now.
She got her own podcast. And maybe she's got a lot of stuff going on, and maybe the focus is not there. She's never been an offensive scorer. Even at LSU, she wasn't really like the person you throw the ball. Like, you know, you look at Asia Wilson. You know you're gonna get buckets from her. You know you're gonna get something from her inside, and she's gonna make those layups. She's gonna finish around the basket. You know, Angel Reese was never the go-to person at LSU. It was always the guards. They always had good guards there. She rebounded the basketball, finished around the hoop. A lot of times you watch her for the Sky, she rushes her shot.
Yeah, she really does. Yeah.
It looks like she's so afraid it's going to get blocked because she's playing against bigger and stronger girls than what she did at the college level. And she hasn't realized yet, just finish strong. Go up there, use the square, go up there. Because you're not going to dunk it. We know she's not going to dunk it. Just go up strong, finish, and she's searching for contact. And then she's throwing it up there, and then she's such a great offensive rebounder, and she's quick off the floor. She's able to go get second and third and fourth opportunities.
Not like Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, well, if you make the first one, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe her rebound numbers will be down, but she's so quick off the floor. She's an amazing offensive rebounder. And I think this summer she's really going to have to spend time on her game. If she thinks she's as good as she thinks she is, then you need to work on your game because she misses way too many layups down there. And it's almost like she's trying to keep up with Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark's on a different level, man.
She's the rookie of the year.
Yeah, she's the rookie of the year. Just stop the slander. Stop the slander on Caitlin Clark. She can play. Give her due. You know, you still start hearing these. Cheryl Swoop said something the other day about her. It's like, man, leave that girl alone. You know, she's just hooping. She ain't out there.
She's selling out arenas everywhere.
Selling out arenas.
Goes.
The jerseys, one of the top jerseys in the WNBA. She's giving people numbers, the assists. Told her teammates now are starting to catch her passes. Before, you know, she throw a bounce past somebody, go out, you know, hit them on the head and go out of bounds. They're starting to learn how to play with her now. So at the end of the day, so let's stop talking about Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese needs to focus on Angel Reese to be the best player she can be. If she thinks she's as good as as Caitlin Clark, then she needs to spend time in the gym working on her game.
Whispers, during your glory days at the Park League, did you finish better than 43% at the rim?
I was at 44, so I definitely beat her.
Advanced analytics, huh?
Yeah. Are you?
He probably never got near the basket.
See, I just figured I'd beat him to it, but no,
listen. Whispers is like Ginobili. Okay? Everybody knows he's going left. Okay, he still gets left. He gets
and still scored buckets after bucket after bucket.
No one played him for the jump shot, but you know he just go right by everybody. He was like Ginobili. He just put in the left hand and just go to the basket every single time. That's a scouting report.
That's pretty nice. That's a nice comment.
That's the nicest thing he said to me in
It
years.
is.
Oh, come on, man. Hey, America.
Talking about his sweaty T-shirt.
Hey, listen, man. America, listen.
I had to hear about the shorts.
Listen, America. I give credit where credit is due, okay? Timmy Whispers can hoop. He can hoop. He can play. I always joke around with him. His jersey's not going up in the rafters. He didn't do enough to get up there. But maybe one day, we may put him up there when, like, if you die or something. You know, when a person dies, they put it up there. They feel sorry for him. We'll put it up there.
Posthumously.
Yes, that's what we're going to do.
Thank you for that.
We'll put you up there, buddy.
But for him, it'd be posthumously.
Yeah, posthumously. That's for me. But his jersey will be up there one day, Mark, but just not now.
All right. Well, we're going to bring Adam Amin in to talk about all things NBA, get a scouting report on the Bears as well. We're going to save Jeff Vukovic's jingle to welcome in Adam in the next segment. So we'll do that coming up next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Our special guest, Adam Amin, is standing by. We want to get him ready for the NBA season by doing a little spot here with one of our great sponsors, Jeff Vukovic. You know, it's almost NBA season. He's going to be hearing Stacey sing the jingle at least 82 times. So we're going to go with the commercial here. When it comes to being treated like royalty, make sure to contact our good buddy, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovic. He'll take care of all of your insurance needs, auto, home, and business. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. Phone number on your screen, 847-825-4783. And as Adam knows, it's the best jingle in the business. Stacey just warming up for the start of the season.
Nationwide is on your side. Woo!
How about that as we welcome in Adam Amin? He's in regular season form, Adam.
Sounds wonderful. There's no rust on the pipes right now. That's what I like to hear. I couldn't be more thrilled to hear it, man. It means that the season's almost here.
It's almost here.
Now, some people know that you've done vocal training. You know, you've been an accomplished singer, but Stacey sometimes likes to scare the play-by-play guy by not singing the jingle, singing, "Oh, it's your turn today." Any experiences you've had like that during your years working with Stacey?
You got to be on your toes, man. Like the nice thing is he never lets you get lazy. He
Yeah.
never lets you rest on your laurels. I like when he mixes it up, whether, he's got his standard one. He's got his a little extra where he'll add a little extra towards the end, a little bit of a vibrato or a little vocal run. He's got his Aaron Neville, which is probably my personal favorite. The Aaron Neville, the cocoa butter is my typical favorite one. So we always have a good time with it, and there's never a dull moment, man. That's the best part of it. The best part of the whole thing is it never gets boring, even if the game's not particularly entertaining. It's never boring sitting there, and that's why I think we have such a good time and why it's such a great job.
And when Stacey was doing the roundabout fill-ins a few years back, when it was a different person every now and again, he would just stop and make them do it. And that's the scary. And you scared Lisa Byington half to death.
Yeah. And then they start singing. I just stop. Just stop. They'd be like, "Nation, oh, just stop. It's horrible. Stop. You weren't ready, Tito. There's the reason why there's Tito Jackson and there's Michael Jackson. I'm Michael. You're Tito. Stop, Tito."
I'm happy to be Jermaine just to jump in every once in a while when necessary. That's all.
And Adam's got a great voice. Adam's got a deep voice.
Absolutely
He's got like an opera voice. See, people don't know that Pavarotti. He only got a little Pavarotti in him. Don't
Man
sleep.
of many talents.
A lot of talents.
That,
DJ Double A out there scratching. Oh, chicka, 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 chicka. Chicka, 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 chicka.
We make it happen, man.
He's spinning the records.
And you went out to see him personally.
Hey, listen. I tell him, "Hey, let me know when you're performing. I'm gonna come out and see." So every time he's performed, he performs at this one big venue where it's a huge place. 115 Bourbon Street.
115 Bourbon Street.
115 Bourbon Street.
This Saturday.
Dude,
night,
this is a huge facility. There's all kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then there's a concert over here going on, and there's people over here playing, games and drinking. And then, in the back is where, Adam normally performs. And then there's people out there dancing, and there's a lot of different DJs. So he'll come on, do his set, then someone will come on before him or after him. It's very entertaining. Everybody gets into it. And I think a lot of people are shocked that it's him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people because I had a bunch of people say, "Is that your partner up there?" I go, "Yeah." I said, "You didn't know?" He's like, "No, I did not know." I said, "He looked familiar." And I saw his name because, they put his name up on the board, and they go, "I thought that was him, but why would he be DJing?" I'm like, "No, y'all, hey, he can DJ." So they're really shocked that it's him.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of a novelty. I think people see my name and they're like, "That's not the guy." And then I'll perform and then they'll see me and they'll be like, "Are you the guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I work with Stacey." So that happened. I was playing at the same place I'm playing on Thursday, a place called Celeste downtown, and I had two Bulls fans, a boyfriend and girlfriend, who were together, that took a photo with Stacey and I during before a playoff game in Milwaukee a couple of years back, and she's like, the woman came up to me and she's like, "Hey, you look a lot like Adam Amin." She didn't say, "Are you Adam Amin?"
Yeah.
She goes, "You look a lot like Adam Amin." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me."
I get that a lot. Yeah.
She goes, because once in a while people look at me and they're like, "Yeah, are you Adam Amin?" She takes out her phone and immediately finds the photo of her and her boyfriend with me and Stacey at a Bucks Bulls playoff game. I was like, "This is the coolest thing." So I always love it, man. I think it's fun when people are like, "I didn't know you did this." It's just a fun thing to be able to do. So yeah, playing there Thursday and then Saturday night at 115 Bourbon Street again.
And it's not like you have a lot of free time. Of course, people know you're calling Major League Baseball and NFL for Fox. I know that you did the Bears on Saturday, and then I was working at Channel 7 Sunday, and one of the monitors was on Fox, and I'm like, "That sounds like Adam. He's in San Francisco." I mean, you go right from Soldier Field to the airport, right, to get a flight to San Francisco.
Yeah, we had two of the 3 Bears preseason games. We had 2 road games, one in Buffalo, one in Kansas City last week. But the home game, I always love doing the Bears games at home. Anytime we get a Bears home game, it's just the best because I can roll out of bed, ride over in my car, park at the stadium, do
Right.
the game, and then just go home. But this particular home game, a couple of weeks back, we had to go straight to the airport because we had to do the Niners Saints game for Fox with our new. It wasn't. We don't have a new crew. We have our same crew, but we have a new analyst, Mark Sanchez. So
Right.
we had a great time working that game, and we'll be back at it. We get a home game. I get a home game week 1 because we're doing the Bears Titans game for the opener.
Well, and speaking of the Bears,
Yeah.
they're the hot talk right now, and
Yeah.
what we've seen in preseason is this foreshadowing that this team is going to be a team that the teams are going to have to worry about?
I think they're going to be a tough out. I think they're in a great position to improve before the schedule really gets tough. If you guys have taken a look at the schedule, I'm fresh off it, so it's kind of fresh in my head. But the second half of the slate, starting in like mid-November, is dreadful. It's brutal. You're playing all 6-year division games in the final, I think it's 8 weeks of the season or 9 weeks of the season. No, it's 8. So 6-year final, 8 games are against divisional teams. The only other 2 games are against San Francisco, the defending NFC champ, and Seattle, who's a really good team on both sides of the ball. So that's the second half of the schedule. The hope is during the first half of the schedule, it's not easy. No game in the NFL is easy, but it's a softer schedule in the first half. And I think with the defense being as good as it is, this should be it's certainly projected to be, and it should be a top 10 defense, maybe even a top 6 or 7 defense, both in scoring and yardage, that the defense can kind of stem the tide a little bit, help carry some of the games and kind of carry the offense a little bit while Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, the offensive line, DeAndre Swift, all these new pieces try to gel together and kind of have a ramp up period. And the hope is that by the time you get to the midway point of the season, that this is a team that's over 500. And now you really start to make some ground when you get into these divisional games. But I think they have a real opportunity to do that because of what we've seen, like you talked about, guys, with the preseason. And I'm sure people have been watching Hard Knocks and kind of getting a sense for the team. There's a really impressive linear improvement, not only for Caleb Williams, but I think for the whole roster. In particular, though, for Caleb, because listen, you guys know this, for 10 or 15 years of Bears football, it's felt like, maybe 10 years, it's felt like the quarterback play has been a lot of like 1 step forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. We see good flashes of impressive play, but there's always some problems or there's deficiencies elsewhere. Caleb Williams, to his credit, and again, it's not going to be this way guaranteed. You have to work at it, but he seems like he's the type of guy that'll work at it. He's been like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back guy, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So there's this gradual linear progression where he's gotten better each of the 3 weeks. He's gotten more comfortable. Guys have rallied around him because he came in as the starter. He was anointed as the starter when he got drafted, and everybody knew that this is our guy. Let's make things easier on him. They have a real shot to be a hard out, I think, throughout this season. I think they can get better before they get to divisional play, and then I think they can cause some problems for the Detroits and the Green Bays of the world.
Yeah, I think with their defense, they got a chance to be 7-2 before they hit that tough stretch of the schedule. I know that's a little bit optimistic, but it all depends on how quickly Caleb comes along. And just watching him in the preseason, it's kind of unfair being the first pick in the draft and what he did in college. The expectations are so high for this kid. People are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. He had that no-look flip in the Buffalo game that everybody got so excited about. But I've noticed also, too, that he's taking a lot of time in the pocket. He's throwing late, and sometimes those passes get intercepted. There's going to be some growing pains, and I wonder how the fan base is going to handle it when he struggles like any rookie quarterback's going to do it in their first few games.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to kind of temper some of the expectations, and that's something that we've been talking about a lot in the preseason. We talked about it with Matt Eberflus and with Shane Waldron, who's the new offensive coordinator who comes over from Seattle. Managing expectations is really important for young players in general, but especially when you have the type of hype, the resume, the college pedigree that Caleb Williams comes in with. And there's real hype around the guy. There's real hype around a Bears quarterback for the first time in a long time. Justin Fields, when he first came to the Bears, he wasn't the starter. So it didn't come with this built-in hype and this built-in expectation. He kind of grew into the job and had some good moments over the course, especially the last couple of years. But really, the last 2.5 years, there were flashes of good stuff, but not enough consistency. And I think with how we've seen Williams progress early, the hope is, and this is what I was just articulating. Like, I hope, I don't know this for sure, but I hope that it translates to the regular season where we'll see progressive growth. And he seems like a cumulative learner. He seems like a guy who, if he's going to see something in week 1, he's going to be able to apply it in week 8 and maybe even apply it again in week 16 and 17. Like, he seems like a cumulative guy. So I think that's really important to manage that. It's important to manage expectations like we talked about. And he's going to have some struggles, right? Every rookie quarterback is going to throw interceptions. We were having a discussion about Peyton Manning, and I'm not making the comparison. I'm just saying, think about how great Peyton Manning was for his career and one of the great quarterbacks of this century, right? He was 3-13 as a rookie, and he threw 28 interceptions to lead the NFL. Like, he had a dreadful rookie year, but because he came in as the guy, they started to build around him. They gave, that organization the resources, defensively especially, and then the weapons around him on the offensive side to be able to progress and get better. And no matter what, year 1 is not this isn't the goal. His rookie year is not the goal. The goal is next year to be a division champion. Can they flirt with that this year? Especially if they start 7-2 in the most optimistic, thinking for that first half schedule. Yeah, they could compete for it. I think they should be flirting with a wild card spot. I think they should be right around the 8 or 9 win mark because they were a 7-win team last year with a really good defense and decent offensive play for flashes. Now you feel like you could have some consistency on both sides of the ball, and they should improve on the 7 wins. They blew 3 games last year.
Right.
Cleveland, Denver, Detroit. You flip those 3 games, they're a 10-win team. So to go from 7 wins this year, have all this turnaround, and to gun for 8 or 9 wins and be in the mix for the playoffs, that's a great goal to have. The goal, if your goal is Super Bowl or bust in year 1, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. If your goal is to be 7-2 in the first 9 games, and if they're not, then he's a bust or they're not doing well, you got, I think that's that you got to temper everything down. But the ceiling is high. The 7-2 is not out of the realm of possibility if everything goes right. And I mean everything, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's a good ceiling, and it's a very high ceiling. And I think that's different compared to where we've been watching Bears football for the last decade.
Well, Adam, one of the things that I've noticed about Caleb Williams is his ability to improvise plays and dissect plays very quickly when he's under duress. Do you think that he's going to see more blitzes when the season starts than what we've seen in the preseason?
Definitely, because I think teams, especially when you get into divisional play, they're going to be more exotic. I think the Bears were a good example of that. They blitzed a lot in the preseason. I think their kind of thinking for that was, well, we're playing 3 very young quarterbacks in the first 3 games, right? Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, all AFC South quarterbacks. And they're like, well, let's put some of these things on tape and make these quarterbacks have to at least think about it. With Williams, he didn't have to think about a ton. He did see some blitzes, but I think that's going to be the goal for a lot of teams. Now, that being said, I've asked about 4 defensive coordinators this preseason. What is the philosophy on blitzing now in the NFL, especially when you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams, who's a young guy getting used to the NFL speed, getting used to the schematics of the league for all these defenses he looks at. Every defense he plays from here on out is going to be the hardest defense he's ever faced, right? It's nothing like college. It's going to be everything's faster. The windows close faster. The closing speed is quicker for every player. All 11 guys are from Georgia or USC or Alabama or high-level programs across the board. These are the cream of the crop. So it's going to be a hard test every single week. But every defensive coordinator I've talked to about blitzing has specifically said, you can attack, but if you don't do it with a real scheme in mind, you're going to get burned by a lot of these quarterbacks that are coming up through the ranks. Caleb Williams is a great example of the modern NFL quarterback, because all the college quarterbacks who've been raised on 7-on-7, have been raised on just trying to read blitzes, and have been raised on being scramblers, there are going to be more and more of those coming into the NFL in the next 10 years. And Caleb is so good outside of the pocket that just to blitz him is not really an effective strategy. And I say that with all quarterbacks. To just blitz Patrick Mahomes is not going to get the job done. It's not just getting him off his spot. When it was Tom Brady, a pure pocket passer, yeah, you can blitz. And if you have the right schematics for it, he's not going to maneuver outside of the pocket. He's going to be trapped in there. His effort is to climb, get rid of it, or scramble for a few yards. Williams is so dangerous outside of the pocket and can make so many throws, as we saw with the Romo Dunze play against Cincinnati, that incredible running to his left away from his arm side 45-yard strike in the bucket. Like, that's an incredible throw, one of the best I've ever seen. You can't just blitz him with, haphazardly. There has to be a rhyme and reason for it. And, Eric Washington is the new defensive coordinator for the Bears. He was the D-line coach for Buffalo the last few years. So he saw it firsthand watching his quarterback on his team, Josh Allen, burn the Pittsburgh Steelers during the playoffs last year. Pittsburgh brought 6 guys on a blitz in a playoff game, just under the assumption, well, we just got to get him off his spot. Josh Allen ran for 52 yards on that play and scored a touchdown. And you can't just do it haphazardly. You have to be schematically and gap-wise very sound when you blitz. So I think that's kind of the key across the board in the NFL. And the hope is that if Caleb Williams gets blitzed, he's able to do the things that he was able to do in the preseason, and that's maneuver outside the pocket and still make flash plays.
Well, we've got you and Stacey together. I know all our listeners and viewers want to talk some Bulls. Obviously, a very eventful offseason. Caruso, very popular player, gone. DeMar DeRozan now in Sacramento, and we've got a lot of young veteran-type players coming in. I really like Josh Giddey. I know he struggled in the playoffs against Dallas, but I think that his best basketball is ahead of him. I think Modest Buzelis was a steal at number 11. What are you most intrigued about as this new season gets ready to tip off?
Yeah, it's Giddey, and I think the combination of Giddey and Levine. I don't know what the goal is for this team right now. There's a lot of different, things that you could throw a dart at and say, well, this is a goal, this is a goal. Like, they're trying to move off Zach LaVine's contract, seemingly, right? They're trying to move away from the $40 million a year contract. They're still making an effort to try to find a trade partner. Well, to do that, Zach's got to prove that he's a capable scorer again, and not that he's not. We all know he is, but he's been hurt. He's been banged up the last year, a lot of lower leg injuries over the course of the last season. So he needs to get back to being able to prove that he's still an effective, explosive scorer. How will that relationship work with Josh Giddey? I think is a very intriguing storyline for this group this year. I agree with you, Mark. I think Giddey is an exceptionally skilled player. We saw that during the Olympics when he was the primary ball handler. Listen, you give Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a lot of credit in OKC. That man has become a star, and that kind of took a lot of the skill set that Josh Giddey had proved, capable of those first 2 years in the league. That kind of became a moot point because Shai was just such a became the primary ball handler, and he was so effective. And, his usage rate got higher and higher. They became more of a driving team, and that really got them in a great spot offensively, plus what they did defensively. I agree with you. I think Josh has a lot of opportunity here to be great, to do the things that he's really good at. That's distributing, rebounding, running a break. He's not great defensively. There's room for improvement. He's not a great shooter. There's room for improvement. We saw that, with Alex Caruso. We saw it with Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. Guys have gotten better shooting. Peter Patton's going to have his work cut out for him, but I think he's done a really nice job. And Kobe's the other name to this. What's going to be his role in terms of like when he, Giddey, and Levine are all on the floor together? He did such a great job in the offseason last year, preparing himself for this past season. The jump that he made was incredible in all aspects of his game. He deserves all the credit in the world for that. But what's his role going to be if you're trying to showcase Levine, if you're trying to get Giddey comfortable as a ball handler and, distributor? How is all this going to fit together? The roster imbalance is still, a bit of an issue. They're very guard and wing heavy right now. And I don't even say wing heavy. I think they're just very guard heavy right now. So to find minutes for these guys, find shots for these guys, how it's all going to come together and work together, that's the thing I'm most intrigued by.
Well, and going into the season with the changeover, the draft pick is so important. The Bulls holding on to that top 10 draft pick, that lottery pick. And with, we were talking about last week, the NBA being a lot of weak teams that are be trying to get that lottery pick, trying to get Cooper Flag. And this is a very deep draft, probably one of the best drafts they've had in a few years. What do you think about the Bulls' chances of maybe being better than what people think, and winning games and find themselves in a playing game situation, which in turn would now kind of boot them out of that lottery phase?
I think that's what's interesting about the roster, right? We don't really know what the goal is. If it were all, guys in their first and second year with, Josh Giddey playing as the lead ball handler, then you'd go, all right, they're probably going to lose 50 games. They're probably going to be in the mix for a top 10 pick. Maybe, you get lucky and a lottery bounces your way, and maybe you can land the number one and get a player like Cooper Flag. But when that doesn't necessarily translate as the clear goal of this particular season, then I'm curious as to what it's going to be like. I do think they could surprise some people if the goal is to win a lot of games, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to hit the 42 win mark this year with this particular roster, especially with considering where some of the goals are, and trying to move players, whether it is Zach LaVine, whether it is Alonzo Ball, whatever they're trying to do in terms of roster management. I'm not sure what the goal is going to be and what they're going to play like, but I think talent wise, like, it's a pretty intriguing group. I'm not saying it's the best group. I'm not saying it's the most well gelled group yet. We'll see how things go in training camp and how this first month of the season is going to look with guys getting used to some role definition. But I think talent wise, it's actually a pretty good roster, all things considered, right? Like, Giddey's a really talented player. Matas Buzelis is fun. Like, I don't know what his role is going to be on the second unit, but I think he could challenge to be, a real minute eater for a team that needs size and that doesn't really have a ton of it. I think Io is going to push a lot of guys to fight for minutes, because he's probably going to be out of the starting lineup based on, the roster, the way it's, looking right now. So I think he's going to push guys. Matas could push Patrick Williams to be a little bit better. Patrick Williams is hopefully, now that he's gotten paid, now that he's got a job for the next 4 years minimum and a decent, salary coming in, hopefully that gives him a little bit of confidence to say, hey, the organization believes in me. I should, take the reins a little bit. So I think talent-wise, it's fun. It's intriguing. It's confusing. I don't know what to expect, but I think that's part of the intrigue of the season. I think that's why it's exciting.
Here's two scenarios that I kind of look at that could possibly happen. By bringing Zach LaVine back and getting him to get his trade value up, I mean, the ultimate goal is to try to move from that. It seems like that's the direction they want to go to.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Okay, but what if the scenario comes in, and we talked about this, that Zach buys into what they're doing, and he plays well, and now he eats into Kobe's development, and Vooch decides that he wants to play now, and then he's a second option on that team, and Lonzo Ball is healthy and can give you minutes, meaningful minutes. Now you find yourself in a very tough situation if you're Billy Donovan, AK, and Mark Eversley, because now you've got a guy who you didn't think wanted to be here, now has bought into the program. That DeMar is gone now. Now it's back to his team, and now he's happy in that role, and now he doesn't want to leave. So then what do? Like, do you move those guys? And let's say the Bulls have a decent record, Adam. They're playing pretty good. They're right around 500. And now you're going into the trade deadline. Do you still move from all these guys? Do you try to move Zach? Do you try to move Vooch, Lonzo Ball, and then try to get some assets back from those guys? I mean, it's a head scratcher, and it kind of gets you like, because any one of those scenarios could happen.
I absolutely agree with you. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the goal or the direction is going to be. If you're, the only way to look at it is kind of compare around the league, right? Or in particular around the Eastern Conference. How are you going to build a team? Are you going to build it through the draft? You're going to build it through free agency. And building through free agency, it looked like a pretty good plan when everybody was healthy a few years ago, right? When we saw the Ball deal, when we saw Caruso get signed on a really good value contract, DeRozan comes over as a veteran guy. The development you were hoping would come for Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and it did in a lot of fashions. Like, that looked like a roster that could contend for the Eastern Conference Finals through free agency. But if you're going to build it through the draft, and it seems like you still have to build a contending team, a championship caliber team through the draft, then at some point you're going to have to pivot. And I don't know if that's the right move or the wrong move. I think a lot of it is going to depend on, the first 40 games, 30 games, what the team looks like, like you said, Stacey, if Zach LaVine's attitude is all I want to do is contribute to a winning team, I'll take whatever role I have to. I'll be more focused on defense. I'll be more of a distributor. If that's Zach's attitude, then all of a sudden that does change how you approach the season. If you're Billy Donovan, that changes how you approach rotations. That approaches what you work on in your minimal practice time in terms of sets. And it is really hard. I think this is one of the toughest coaching jobs in the NBA this season. I honestly believe that Billy Donovan has one of the toughest jobs in the league this year, because regardless of which direction this team wants to go in, whether it's a development direction or whether it's a competitive direction, and I know those two things can both go hand in hand together, I understand that. But if the ultimate goal is to get set for the next 3 years and to try to get, a top 10 pick or to be right in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, then you need to prioritize the development of your younger players and guys that you expect to be here for at least another 2 seasons. And if you're going to move off some of these contracts, then the whole goal of the first 30 games, 40 games is different. And so much of this is going to be dependent on, those first 2 months of the year and a lot of attitudes. What are the prevailing attitudes of a lot of these players? I'm still a believer that you have to do this through the draft. I think the pivot is important. I think the Bulls did do some things to start to pivot away from the previous iteration of the roster. Arturas basically said as much in the exit interviews and exit press conference basically this past year. Like, we know we need to do some things differently, essentially admitting some mistakes. And I can appreciate that. But this is going to be a difficult job for Billy Donovan, and a lot of management, more so than just coaching. It's going to be a lot of management for this coming season.
Before we let Whispers ask his wacky question, Stacey and I got into a conversation a couple of shows ago about our all-time NBA top 10. I think Steph Curry inched his way in there after his latest addition to his resume, hitting those 4 shots. We're having a power surge here. We still have Adam? Okay. I guess we're not going to be able to ask that question. Hey, we fixed this in editing, but we had a storm front coming through Palatine, and
it's wild.
We lost Adam for a while, but he's kind enough to rejoin us and then pick up the interview.
And one thing we found out, America, is God does not like Timmy Whisper's questions. So when it was it was his turn to ask the question.
He's going to censor
and
it.
And then all of a sudden,
goes right back to it.
The TV went black, everything went dark, and it's like, no, he's not answering no question.
Just like
Whispers.
I'll bring the darkness.
Oh, my God. All right, what's your question?
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we're going to have a Frost Nixon moment like the last time Adam and I were talking, but we're going to go back to the Bears for a moment. Who's the surprise draft pick, in your opinion, that you think has some tremendous upside?
I think it's a surprise to talk about a punter as much as we have. I think Tory Taylor might be like one of the top punters in the league this season. He was highly touted. You spent a 4th round pick on a punter, and it's the second time in the last 3 years that the Bears have drafted a punter. So clearly they saw something with this guy that made them feel comfortable with moving on from Trenton Gill. And, this is one of the best punters, granted, for a very bad offense in Iowa last year. Iowa was one of the worst offensive teams in college football last season. They've made some changes this year, but Tory Taylor had to punt a lot. So the fact that they've went out of their way to try to get a punter in the 4th round to be a weapon for a team that wants to flip the field, that wants to win the field position battle. Field position is even more important this year with this new dynamic kickoff rule. Might see teams start a little bit further back. You're going to be in positions, especially early, if the offense is starting to try to ramp up and it's not at optimal level out of the gate. A punter is going to be that much more important. I was watching one of the episodes of Hard Knocks, and they had a camera on one of Matt Eberflus's daughters in the press box or whatever, one of the suites. And Tory Taylor had this great punt, and they went back to the daughter, and you heard Matt's daughter say, you never know how important a punter is until you have a good one, and you're like, and you see the effects of having a great punter like that. And I know it's not the sexiest thing to say, and we're all about sexy when it comes to Timmy Whispers. I mean, the man oozes sex appeal, as we've always said. He's always given Stacey a run for his money up in Montana.
I was number 3 on the list.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah, you're right there. I appreciated the effort. I tried to vote
for Kevin Costner. He was between us.
It was Stacey, Kevin, and then Whispers. I know it's not the sexiest thing, but it's really important, especially for a rookie quarterback. You know, I know his joke was, "Hey man, you're not going to have to punt that much. We're not going to be using you much." But, you know, for a young quarterback, when things are not going to be as smooth in terms of operation out of the gate, believe it or not, I think Torrey Taylor, the punter, is the most intriguing draft pick outside of like the usual suspects. You know, like I know Roma Dunze, I know Caleb Williams. You gotta keep an eye out on Torrey Taylor.
What about the kid, the defensive end, Booker?
Yeah, he's good.
He's looked
Austin
good.
Booker.
Austin Booker's looked from Kansas has looked really good.
Really? You guys are gonna say that now?
Yeah.
It's because when we had the draft, Adam, going back, back in April, I said to these guys, asked who did I think was one of their steal picks, and I said it's Austin Booker.
Wow.
We need to check the tape.
These two guys like. No,
we need to check the tape.
He'll be nothing.
Timmy Whispers busting out the Austin Booker pick early. I like it.
Really?
That's when you need to reflect on that one.
Jayhawk football in your spare time.
It's one of the rare things, Adam.
I am.
It's one of the rare times, Adam, that he comes up with anything close.
No, that's not true at all.
You know what though? Timmy's not off target, man. Because so I like the trade that the Bears just made to get Darrell Taylor from Seattle. That adds a little bit of depth to your pass rush. But you know, Montez Sweat is great. We saw the impact he made. I think the Bears had 20 sacks as a team. After he got there midway through the season, they only had 10 as a team prior to Sweat showing up. And Sweat, I think, contributed like 6 or 6.5 of those 20 that they did have once he arrived. So he was obviously, you know, the biggest key. But his effect of the other, you know, to help out the other guys was very apparent. You know, Justin Jones, who was playing on an inside technique last year, ended up with a few sacks because of how important Montez Sweat was to drawing attention from other teams' offensive lines. Austin Booker's not a guy who's played a lot of football in college. He didn't play a ton at Minnesota. He got his one shot last year at Kansas, was Big 12 newcomer of the year, had, I think, 8 sacks. Great season for Kansas, which is a fun team to watch, an intriguing bubble playoff team this year in the new format in college football. But, you know, Jalen Hutchings was a guy that the Bears signed during preseason. Just as a note for comparison, he played 2,700 snaps in college. He played 6 years at Texas Tech.
Jeez.
2,700 snaps in college. Austin Booker played like 500 snaps in college. He is very raw, but Matt Eberflus called him an instinctual pass rusher. And with some of the moves that he made, some of the natural ability that he has in that position, he could be a really important piece. They're not going to do what Sweat does, you know, on the other side of their defensive line. But in the aggregate, and not to use like a Moneyball term, in the aggregate, they can maybe not equal, but contribute in the same way that Sweat does with the other guys, you know, whether it's DeMarcus Walker, you know, whether it's Austin Booker on that side of the football, whoever they're going to use, Taylor for that matter, the guys that they're going to use as their secondary pass rushers, if they can put together a season where they have 8, 9, 10 sacks as a group, and hopefully Montez Sweat hits that 10 sack, 11, 12 sack mark, now you're in much better shape to allow other guys on your interior to make plays. I think Austin Booker could be a really important piece. I don't think he'll be the main guy, but I think he's going to be a really important piece opposite of Montez Sweat as part of a trio or maybe even a, you know, group of 3 or 4 guys that are going to try to be on that side of the line.
So D, you said you have the receipts of that? Play that for Adam. I think that was perfect analysis that I provided there.
Yeah.
You were taking a shot in the dark.
You both went, nah.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Timmy feels very confident about this right now.
Hey, listen. The great Johnny Bach, the defensive wizard coach, would always say the sun shines on both sides of the cat's ass sometimes, okay? And the sun shined on his ass, and he came up with that little Austin Booker take. So
Ride
we'll give him his respect. We'll give him his respect.
He's gonna ride that take till the wheels fall off.
In 3 years, that's his best take he's had.
When he's in the Hall of Fame,
just save the clip, save the receipts, my friend. That's all.
The other take he had, Adam, was when we had one of the guys on from Power, and he liked to suck toes and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And Whispers knew all about him sucking toes and his fetish with feet.
How about Trae Young with his bird hair?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And he called Trae Young.
Yeah.
He said Trae Young's hair looked like it was bird's nest.
And Stacey and I are just dying over here, oh no.
And Trae,
we haven't had Trae Young back, by the way.
Trae won't even return my call now because of that.
Timmy
from
just
Oklahoma. We boys.
Timmy took a match and not just flicked the match at the bridge. He poured some gasoline on top of it afterwards.
I'm gonna start to finish, man.
First show we had Adam when we first started. Is like somebody said, "Hey, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?" And then Whispers. It was quiet for about 2 seconds. Yeah, just like herpes. we must have lost like 20 sponsors. We lost 20 sponsors because of that comment. And we have to have a button to mute him sometimes.
Jeez.
You know. So yeah, this is what we have to deal with when we give him that little segment of the show. We have to warn all the guests. We don't know where the question's going to come from, where he's going to bring it. But he's got some question that's going to be off the wall.
But see, that's what you guys don't realize. Adam's sitting there the whole time going, when do I get a question from Whispers?
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time going, listen, all this is great, seeing Mark and talking to Stacey and all that, but I'm here for Whispers, clearly.
Whispers is like that old wooden nickel Indian that sits in the when you go into like
a cigar
buffet,
store?
Yeah. And he's sitting there holding the cigars. That's Whispers. Don't move. He just sits there.
Gosh.
And when Whispers is not here,
when I move, it scares people.
When Whispers is not here, we have a cutout of him.
He's locked in.
You can't tell the difference.
He's just locked in, so focused, so intense. It's Timmy Whispers right there.
Look at Andy. Andy's just.
Hey, Adam, Whispers is going to take that Booker clip. He's going to apply for a job at the NFL Network.
Oh, my God.
Hey, man.
Expert analyst.
They're going to find out he doesn't know a damn thing about NFL.
If he's on the all-rookie team, I will champion Timmy Whispers as Timmy Takes from here on out.
It'll be Adam Amin, Jim Miller, and Timmy Whispers in the booth.
Done.
Well,
Timmy Chicago Bears.
I put you down as a reference. I can't put these two guys down.
Oh, wow. Wow. I don't want to be a reference. Hell no.
You don't want that responsibility. I don't even know if I want the responsibility.
Because if they say the guy sucks and they fire him, they're gonna be we never listen to Stacey King again. Mark Chanowski, those guys gave us this lemon.
Timmy has some great takes, but man, he's got to focus on the toes. He's more worried about the toes and the foot fetishes than anything else.
Hey, when I see you, I'm gonna tell you what he said to Ron Jeremy.
Oh yeah, please tell me what he said.
Hey, I can't say it on this show, but when I see you, I'm gonna tell you what he said to Ron Jeremy when he got introduced to Ron Jeremy. Wait till you hear this
in the bathroom. Right?
Yeah.
I need to hear this. I look forward to hearing this story in person.
As he's standing next to Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
No joke.
Oh, man.
And so I'll give you a little synopsis, though. So he's next to Sylvester Stallone and Ron Jeremy, right? So I said, oh, man, it must have been pretty cool to be next to Sly and, be able to talk to Sly Stallone, da-da-da. He goes, I've seen more Ron Jeremy movies than I've seen in Sylvester Stallone. And he was dead serious. And I was just like, well, you are a freak. Yeah. And so wait a minute. And the story gets even more intense afterwards, after that comment, okay?
Yeah,
so when I see you, I'm gonna tell you what he said.
Oh my, I can't wait to hear the rest of this story. This is gonna knock my socks off. It's gonna be great.
Just like Whispers.
Well, I don't think we can pick up this interview after that. I think we're going to have to let you go and, maybe have a stiff drink or whatever. We appreciate you being a good sport. I know your schedule is incredibly busy. Thank you so much for making time for us, and we look forward to.
I might have to come out and watch the spin of the tables this weekend, baby.
Let me know, baby. I love you guys. You guys are the best, and I can't wait for the season to start so we can all be back together, man.
That sounds fantastic. The man for all seasons, Adam Amin, our guest on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We're going to come back.
Thanks, Adam.
We're going back with more nonsense from Timmy Whispers and maybe another Sly Stallone story when we pick it up on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Want to thank our good buddy Adam Amin for playing along with our crazy reindeer games in here. All kinds of nonsense, courtesy of Timmy Whispers. It's amazing when you think back. We've done what, almost 200 shows. I wonder how many guests you've offended during that time.
Most of them.
Well, you know what? You know you offended when they don't want to.
Yeah, the microphone.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
There's a professional right here.
True pro. Seasoned pro.
Whispers is throwing the whole thing off.
You know it's bad when they don't return your phone call when you ask them for a repeat. That's when you know you offended them. I'm still waiting for Trae Young.
That Trae Young thing was unbelievable.
Trae Young is not coming back on.
And you thought the thing was you thought there was no problem with that question.
I did, and I sent him an apology letter, but he didn't respond to
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah, he didn't. No, he
You're
never
on the pay no
responded.
mind list forever.
And then
Yeah.
he did the sauce on some chips on Instagram. He's like, "This sauce sucks."
Oh my goodness.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Okay, no, you got to make sure you clear that up.
He actually
Oh,
said,
yeah, don't be out there.
He actually said it was
You're
great.
hurting the business.
he actually said it was great.
Okay,
He
well,
said,
say
since
that.
his whisper sucks, but the sauce is
Oh, okay, well, yeah, don't be
Well,
over
since
there.
you're talking about the sauce, why don't you tell
Yeah.
people how they can get some?
Well, Mark, it's been a couple of weeks. I've been gone, and it's disappointing because I like to come in the studio, but I only get a ride from Whispers because I'm too old to drive now. I'm old as dirt. So, anyhow, if you need some sauce, go to gimmethehotsauce.com and pick up some sauce. Fall's coming. You got Labor Day. Get some sauce. Do some ribs, some dogs, whatever you need to do, and eat right.
Is Whispers backed up on trying to pack that sauce?
I don't know. I don't keep track anymore. I know that he's had some issues in the past. A box just showed up that was gone for 3 months that was sent to Mark Rody. I was like, what is this, Whispers? He's like, I don't know.
Came
It's
back to
weird.
you?
Yeah, it showed back up.
Oh man, we got to take care of Grody. He's our guy.
It went back out. The same dirty box. He just sent it back out. I said, what kind of a professional are you? And he's like, we're trying to save a couple of nickels. And he just sent it back out with a new label. It was dirty. I think it was leaking some sauce.
No, we got to get Whispers on the ball, our hot sauce packer. And soon to be at a Mariano's near you.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the order. Everything's ready to go. I've prepared everything, including some new reads, and you're going to hear it next week.
All right, we'll look forward to that, Chris. We appreciate it. Hey, this part of the show, we bring in some comments from our viewers and listeners. These are all Bulls related after our conversation with Adam Amin. One of them we kind of covered, Stacey. He says, what happened if the team clicks and Zach is a part of that winning? Do you still try to trade him at the deadline?
I think they're going to have to reevaluate that, because if he's going to buy into what they're trying to do and he shows that he's healthy and he shows that he wants to be part of it, you don't find Zach LaVine's just walking on the street. I mean, the kid is a talented scorer. He's a bucket getter, and if he's healthy, he's a top 25 player in the game. So again, they don't come every day, so they'd have to reevaluate that.
A guy named Brazil Popular says, turn down the AC, giddy up. That's a guy that you'd like, Whispers, right?
I like it.
A little play on wordplay there.
I think that's a bumper sticker right now, if not a T-shirt.
Obvious shirts. They could sell those at the United Center.
So what do you think happens when AC, though, is on Giddy? What do you think, who's winning that matchup?
Well, AC's one of the best defenders in the league.
Yeah.
That's
First of all, AC's not going to probably even guard him. He'll be guarding Zach. He'll be guarding, Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to guard Giddy, because
Like shut down the dribble?
Giddy's not the guy that's going to go out and get you 25 points on the night. That's not his job. His job is to
You
distribute.
probably put SGA on him so he could wrestle.
Yeah, yeah, because he's not. You need him to distribute the basketball. You need to shut down a Zach LaVine. You need to shut down a Kobe. You might need to shut down. Patrick. Patrick Williams.
They
So
got
that's
Lou Dort too.
Yeah, that's where you'll see AC. AC's going to be the guy that they put on the best scores and to take some pressure off SG, so he can take some rest. And then you got Lou Dort, who's also a very good defensive player. Oklahoma's got some really good defensive
Jalen
wings.
Williams,
Jalen Williams is a very good defensive player. They've got some very good defensive young wings. So it's going to be interesting to see, because they're going to probably be favored this year, I think, to come out of the West.
Yeah.
It was just based off what they did last year. It's another year of maturity for their big kid there, Chet Holmgren. He's another year older, year better, and so you got Hartenstein now that will play their 5.
Mhm.
Now you'll be able to go with a big lineup, and you'll allow Chet Holmgren to probably play a natural position as a stretch 4.
I see that D, in doing his research, has Chet Holmgren actually made some comments really backing Giddey and saying he was hurt by the trade. I mean, you got young guys that kind of grow together. You hate to see one of your boys leave.
Yeah, I mean, these are your brothers. I mean, you're with these guys 7-8 months more than you are with your family, and so when this guy, when he comes in, Chet Holmgren comes in, Giddey's first year in the league. Or second year in the league, they kind of gravitate to one another. That's their road dog. That's the guy they eat
throwing
dinner
him
with.
alley-oops.
Throwing him alley-oops, making his job easier. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts, but it's a business. Anybody's tradable. Everybody I was effing hurt when I saw Giddey wasn't going to be on our team anymore. We all rock with him. That's our dog. Still is. He's going to do great things in Chicago. We're excited for him. And that's awesome. That's awesome that
What's that? We appreciate Nick, who started his semester at Loyola. He's not with us in person, but here in spirit.
Yeah, he's here in spirit.
And question from Matt Colangelo. Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
He's a cheater.
That'd be a whole nother segment. What can be defined as the Bulls having a successful season, Stacey?
This continue seeing growth of their young players. They get better. You saw it last year with Kobe. You saw it with Io. Now you need to see Patrick Williams take that step. If Patrick Williams and Dalen Terry have that huge jump this year, it'd be a successful season. And what you want to see if you're a Bulls fan is you want to see growth. You want to see this team come out here every single night and play hard every single night. Like we used to see when the Scott Skiles had teams. You had Tom Thibodeau teams. They may not have been the most talented teams, but when you came to Chicago, you knew you had to play hard every night or you weren't going to get a win. And that's what this young team has to do. I think with the talent they've assembled, there's a lot of kids that got chips on their shoulder. There's a lot of guys that feel like, hey, I didn't get a good opportunity somewhere else. This is now a fresh start. I got an opportunity now on a young team to make my name, to make my mark. There's going to be guys out here trying to, show people that I'm a better player than what you thought I was. And we ain't even talking about Christian Duarte.
No.
Okay, that's my guy right there. I'm telling you right now, that's the guy you need to keep an eye on. That's the guy I think is going to be huge for the Bulls. No one is talking about him.
Nobody.
No one. Yeah. You don't even know he's on the roster. Right. That kid can flat out play. He was all rookie team his first year. The kid can shoot. He can defend. He's got great size. I'm telling you, you're looking at a guy, one of the new players, to have a breakout season. He's the one. And remember, I guarantee. Okay, remember, make sure we have this on tape that I said Christian Duarte is going to be the dude.
Yeah, D.
This year.
Keep the receipt.
Keep the receipts.
Because Whispers had his moment in the sun today.
Yes, that's the only time. Right. That's the only time he's ever been right about anything.
My ass has been burned by the sun.
Before we get out of here, it's one of our favorite segments. What are we watching? And then we were talking the Sly Stallone story. He had the series Tulsa King, which is on Paramount Plus. I think I've got about 7 or 8 streaming services. That's not one of them. But CBS is running it as a summer filler. So I thought, I'll check it out. And it's really interesting the way the family sends him to Tulsa, and he just takes over the whole town. It's really good. I mean, even at 75 or whatever his age is right now, he still plays a pretty good tough guy.
Yeah, it's well done, very well done, and the setup of the whole thing, like you said, is very well done. And there's some
Dana Delaney watching out for him.
Yeah, she looks great too.
Yeah,
but there's some dang.
Yeah, she's his love interest in that.
Yeah, FBI agent.
That's not Dana Delaney.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it
no.
is. Yeah.
That's not Dana Delaney.
Or it's one of those from
No, it's not. No, it's not Dana Delaney. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Well, anyway, what do you got, Stacey?
Well, no, because I don't want misinformation on this show.
Well, he'll look it up.
Look it up. Ain't no damn Dana Delaney. I know who Dana Delaney is. Anyway, if I was rudely interrupted by false information, what I'm watching, Ron Jeremy. The best of Ron Jeremy. No, I'm sorry, America. No, I'm not watching Ron Jeremy. I'm not watching that little portly.
Could teach that.
That little portly little man. That little man. You ever seen Ron Jeremy? You ever see what he look like?
No.
You don't want to see what he looks like. It's amazing. He looks the way he does and gets all these girls. It's amazing.
Oh, we kind of know why.
Yeah. He looks like a guy that's like delivering pizza. But anyway, before I got rudely interrupted by Tim and Mr. Ron Jeremy, I finished watching Spartacus. With Spartacus show, and I finally finished it. I never finished it to the end, and I watched it to the end. And Spartacus went out like a champ. He went out like a champ, man. He almost took on the whole Roman army with a bunch of slaves. So that just shows me right there, if you put your mind to do something, you can do it. If we need to revolt, we'll revolt. So, Tim, if you ever need to revolt in Tellurray, I'll be here with you, buddy. We'll revolt.
That's great.
No, I take that back. I'm going to revolt with Pavlov and all these guys because Pavlov and all these guys, these are the ones who are, you're the Romans. You're Roman.
Over.
You're the Roman guy. All the people working office are the slave guys. So I'm going to revolt with the slaves.
It's Dana Delaney.
That's what I
No, it's
thought.
not.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not her.
Yeah.
It's not her.
That's right.
No.
That's right. Mark and I
The
had
girl
it.
that got shot. Thank you. Thank you. She's not. She's not the FBI agent.
That's Andrea Savage.
No. You said the love interest. You thank you, D.
Hey, when
D,
it's sliced alone, everyone's a love
D,
interest.
D, hey, listen. D rolled in here. He just slid right in here to make sure we got the correction. Dana Delaney is
He's
not
never
the
even
love
seen
interest.
it.
He just,
Well, he just looked it up. He just looked
Yeah,
it
I
up.
did too. I think he hits everybody in that show, so it's all good.
Oh, wow. We just lost another sponsor, America. What's the definition of hit, Tim?
I'm not going to get into those details. That's how you keep sponsors. I've learned some lessons over the years.
Well, it's not the love interest, but it's a great show. It's a great show, Mark. I'm telling you right now. I didn't know. I had my doubts in the beginning, okay, because I'm from Oklahoma, so I know it looks like the whole background, everything. That's why I wanted to look at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's kind of like Oklahoma. It's like Tulsa, but Tulsa is a little bit more city than what the show.
Well, the guy
looks
that
like.
runs the weed shop, he was a main character on the Silicon Valley series.
The kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's
does a good
funny.
job.
That whole group is funny. You also got the kid that what's his name? The guy that runs the bar, the country singer.
Yeah.
That actually is a really good singer. Like he's
Garrett Hedlund?
Garrett Hedlund. He's a real singer.
Yeah, a very good singer.
Yeah, because he's singing. What was that movie with
Country Strong or
Country Strong with Gwyneth Paltrow? Yeah, he sang all the songs in that, and he's a good singer. So he was singing in the bar.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he also was in Troy with Brad Pitt.
That's right.
He was Patroclus,
Yeah.
who got killed by Hector in the Battle of the Beach,
He was also in Tron.
and that's what turned Achilles into a murderer, because Achilles wasn't going to fight in the Battle of Troy. He was going to leave because he didn't like the king.
Yeah.
And when they killed Patroclus, because Hector thought it was Achilles and they looked just alike, that's when Brad Pitt went psycho. He went and killed everybody. He was going to kill everybody in Troy.
Stacey's
Classic
an expert
movie.
on a lot of things, including old television.
Old television. Hey, listen, old television. Hey, listen, the Rifleman.
Yeah.
I saw some riflemen the other day.
Chuck Connors?
Chuck Connors. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, Chuck Connors, baby. Chuck Connors used to play for the Celtics. Did you know
I
that?
remember it. Yeah.
And he played football. I mean, some of these guys were pretty talented back in the day. You know, Big Valley. You ever seen Big Valley?
Oh, yeah.
You used to watch those shows too?
Why not?
Your dad used to make you watch it, right?
No. I got home early and put on Big Valley.
Jeez, you were a loser. What kid would go watch Big Valley? I was forced to watch it. My dad, it'd be Saturday afternoon. My dad used to make me watch all these country, because like the rule was, if you come in the house, you're in the house for the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So like you know, like,
So then you're
and
forced
you'd
to
be
watch
like,
Big Valley?
hey, and so we'd be like, it's hot outside, 100 degrees.
Bonanza.
Bonanza. We're struggling outside. There's no water. We want to come and get some water, get an air conditioning.
I
So
saw a
it's-
Ron Jeremy film called Big Valley once.
Okay, listen, I'm done, man. Get us off. We're off track.
We're not
again.
We're not even gonna get whispers.
No, we're not-
recommendations.
yeah, we're
We'll
not.
Save that for another day.
See how I can kill the show?
Mike's still monitoring the show out in the car.
Yes, Mike is out there. You know, Mike. I'm telling you, man. Mike does an excellent job. Okay, he has little picnics in his car. He's eating roasted chicken most of the time. Sometimes he'll stop by Whole Foods. Sometimes he'll go by Mariano's, but he'll eat a whole chicken by himself.
We probably killed his appetite with this conversation.
Oh yeah.
Threw it out the window.
He's probably out there walking right now in the rain. He's probably out there walking, getting his steps in. He got to probably get 10,000 steps in.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll come to the car and I'll be looking in there. I can't see him. He's out there walking. He's walking around the building. The other day I stopped. I was in Vernon Hills. We had some running we had to do. And so I came to the car. He wasn't there. I'm like, where the hell is Mike at? Hey, I was only in there 5 minutes. He done walked around the whole damn building. Oh, here I am. I'm like, oh, shit, Mr. Deeds. What the fuck? Where you coming from? He just popped up.
So if you're going to Bears games or other social activities, get the best
is that
limousine
the ad?
service.
Oh, we're doing an ad. Let me get my ad voice on. When it comes to being treated like royalty, insurance. Oh, that's nationwide. Oh, my fault, America. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic to get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact them at 847-916-9300. Again, that's 847-916-9300. Or go to WindyCityLimos.com and tell them Timmy Whisper sent you.
That's not going to do much for you, but you can try it.
Yeah, it'll cost you a little bit more. There's a surcharge.
Want to thank Amin for joining us today. A great guest. You can catch him. Where's he going to be? At 115 Bourbon Street on Saturday.
Thursday.
Celeste on Thursday and 115 Bourbon Street on Saturday.
Yes,
the best DJs in the business.
I'm telling you, man, listen, America, Bulls Nation, like, you need to go check this guy out. This guy is a super talented guy. You know, we see him in the football. We see him doing baseball. And we see him do Bulls games, but man, when you see him behind that DJ booth, he's like he transforms into something totally different. I'm telling you, man, like
you want to check it out.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's awesome.
Starting at a 2 a.m. shift, as he mentioned.
Yeah.
Woo.
I won't be going to that one. Those old people got to be in bed by 9.
Want to thank D and Cisco for doing a great job as always.
Cisco.
Nick's not here, but he's helping us out with all our social
Cheating
media.
ass Nick. Cheating ass Nick.
You want to go into that or
listen, he cheated. That's all I'm saying. No, you ain't got no video, man. You got no video. You got no video. America, first of all, I played one of our guys here in college football. Look, this guy's recording. Look at this guy. This guy's recording. All right, so we play college football, and so we're playing this game in college football, right? So the guy cheated. He sandbagged me. I didn't know he was as good as he was.
Oh, okay.
He acted like he couldn't play.
Does that make him a cheater?
Yeah, he cheated, man. He had codes. He did all these little codes on there. He made his receivers faster. He made his running back hard to tackle. He had all these little codes in there.
You sound like a guy who's running for president.
You know what, Mark?
Yeah.
I thought we were friends, but I see we're not. So, Mark, you know what?
Everybody's cheating.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's rigged.
Mark, you know what? They said I could run for politics. They said I had that attitude. So, Nick, if you're out there looking right now, son, you got an ass whooping coming. I'm just going to tell you right now, live on the show, I'm going to open a can of whoop ass on you the next time we play, boy.
And on that note, time to wrap it up. Another edition of Give Me the Hot Sauce in the books. We got a brand new show coming up next week. God knows what we might be talking about if we're still on the air.
Ron Jeremy.
Yeah. All right. Until then,
it's a nice penis. Don't drive home safely. Beep, beep. Hey, what's up? This is Stacey King
And I'm Timmy Whispers.
of Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Each week, make sure you join us. Timmy Whispers, what do you need to hit?
They need to hit like and subscribe so they get all the notifications and news from our podcast.
That boy is sweet. Just make sure when the video's over, click to the left, and you'll hear our previous videos for the previous week and have some fun because we'd love to have fun on Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast.
Woohoo!